he was just delivery driving for like a few months because he was like in between jobs. And so he comes in, and he was a cop, and then he was training to become part of SWAT, the SWAT team or whatever. Right, I think he's like a SWAT sniper or something. I don't know, kind of crazy. Anyway, so he was in between the training program, so he wasn't getting paid anymore because he wasn't really doing much for a cop. So anyway, so he walks up to this guy's door. It's totally like normal, totally whatever. It's just an apartment complex. This dude, like this older guy, probably in his like 30s, comes out, and it's just like a big cloud of smoke just goes boom right out the door. So much fucking weed, right? And so he gives him the pizza, and he's like, "Hey, just need a signature on this." And he's like, "Hey, bro, I don't have much for a tip, but like, do you wanna hit my blunt or whatever it was, my bowl, or take a rip or whatever?"
Yeah.
And he was like, "No, I can't, dude. I'm driving. You can't drive like too fucked up." And the guy was like, "Oh, okay." And and the guy was like, "But like, why not?" And he's like, "Well, because I can't drive like that." And he's like, and then the guy like stops for a second because he's so slow in his thought. And he's like, "Wait, if you drive and you get pulled over when you're high, you lose your job and you go to jail, and the company does bad." And then this is all like slow, like this is all taking him like seconds between sentences.
So this is a very
And
introspective moment for this man.
And he's like, "So there'd be no more pizza. No more pizza anymore." And the guy is crying in front of him. He's literally crying. He's like, "No more pizza. I'm sorry, bro." And he's apologizing, gives the guy a hug, gives him a big old fat tip. He's like, "I'm so sorry, dude." Hands him a huge tip, and then just walks back inside and locks the door. And the delivery guy just walks off, and he's like, "What the fuck just happened?" I don't know. It was such a funny story. I've had a few instances with high people. I'm sure you have.
Anyone delivering in a college town or working in a college town is bound to run into someone under the influence.
Oh my god. I just remember this one guy. I knock on the door, and then I knocked again, and then I knocked again, and then he finally came out and opened the door slower than I've ever seen. And I hold out the pizzas, and he like looks down at them for like actually like 4 seconds. And then he slowly puts his hands out, and he's like looking at his hands. And then he grabs the pizza, and he looks at it super slowly. And he goes into his room and just literally drops it on a fucking coffee table. Just drops it on it like a good 2-foot drop. And I was like, "What?" And the guy turns around really slow, looks at me. I said, "Hey, can you sign this?" He's like, "Yeah." Hand him the pen and the thing. Takes him forever to grab it. And then he slowly signs. This man took forever signing his name. He didn't even fucking tip. But it was the funniest shit. I was like, "Dude, holy crap, you're on another world."
I mean, at least you got a good laugh out of it, if anything. But with these fun laughs, we also, as anyone does, we get annoyed with our jobs. Especially in our area right now, there are a lot of these new scooters called Birds, and it's kind of turned into a little bit of a problem. But we're trying to make a right turn or a left turn, and these people
guys.
they come zooming past, and you almost clip them, and
dude, they're going 17 miles an hour.
They're pretty quick, honestly.
Dude, they just zip through intersections without you even noticing. You think it's clear? Nope,
it's not. Yeah, no, they're awful, and just avoiding traffic in general is a whole nother ordeal with, especially in the area that we're in.
Dude, those freaking scooter things,
mm-hmm.
they think they're a car.
Honestly.
They think they're a car. Like, they take up full lanes. Like,
Yeah.
it's like a one-lane road, like a one-way, one lane. And you're going, but there's a stupid scooter kid going like 17 miles an hour in a 35, and you're like, what are you doing, bro?
Because they're definitely faster than bikes and longboarders, anyone really.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not as fast as us, obviously. And it's just such a hassle to deal with. And anyone who's seen these around, like, doesn't know where they came from.
No,
Like,
they
just
like
popped up out of nowhere.
like we woke up one morning and I was like, what is this? But no, I had this friend, this chick, and she was like, she was riding one of those just around because she
Mhm.
didn't want to drive, I guess, or
Yeah.
whatever. She was just riding one around, and then all of a sudden, like, the car was just coming right at her, so she had to like try and get off really quick. So she like tripped and fell and hit like this curb, broke 3 of her ribs on that thing.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, yeah, no, those things, like, I'm pretty sure someone had to have died on that thing by
No,
now.
like, they're convenient and everything, but, like,
They totally are.
I don't understand, like, how they got passed, like, with
Yeah.
the government and everything and state laws. Like, I know they went through, like, the minimal requirements that they needed to go through, but, like, I feel like they should be regulated so much more heavily, you know?
I think the town we're in, they're, I know the college campus in the town we're in has kicked them off. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, off campus completely?
Off campus completely. Obviously, people still bring them on, but campus has like 600 of them all stockpiled.
Really? Like,
Yeah.
do they just keep them?
Yeah, they just hold on to them. I mean, because after a certain point, after it uses so much battery, like the GPS stops signaling.
Interesting.
So they just keep them in like a brick building. So like they can't find where they go, and so the company's like losing a ton of money because the freaking campus has so many of them. And then the town we actually are in, I believe they're trying to outlaw them, but I mean it's ridiculous. And then the town, like I live a few towns over from where I work, and now they're popping up here,
Yeah.
and I'm like, no thanks.
Yeah, no, they're spreading like a fucking virus, honestly. And I don't see anyone dropping them off, picking them up, or anything. Like they just
It's all super
literally
late at
pop up.
night.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like pick them up at like probably like around 12, and they drop them back off at like 3 or 4 in the morning.
That's weird,
Yeah, no,
honestly.
they just pick them up, charge them, and go away.
That's weird. And I actually heard a story that like you can get money for that. Like if you stay up late, like the company will send you a charger, and if you
Oh, yeah.
go and pick up like the Burrs or whatever, other companies are starting to get into it now.
Razor,
Yeah, Razor.
the Lime, whatever.
Or it's like T-Line maybe. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But like you can pick them up, charge them for a few hours and drop them off, and then you make money for however many of the scooters you charged.
Dude, like they had that idea with the bikes. The bikes was kind of a cool thing at first because it was like, oh, this is neat and new, but like all the homeless people just snagged them and then just took off the little locks that, you know, how like the bikes would lock if you weren't paying or if it wasn't rolling or something.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, stuff like that. So they just like tore them apart, and it was like, hey, here's a bunch of free bikes. You know, the company like probably lost so much money. I mean, they had to probably get a government grant for that.
Probably.
There's no one who should have invested in that.
Or who would just shovel out money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, those things are rough, but I mean, and just avoiding like those things and just traffic in general, like especially being just a delivery guy.
Yeah. Especially like on a busy campus like area. It's awful. I mean, minus the campus itself. We're in a pretty populated area with a lot of businesses and a lot of apartments and hotels and
Yeah, and a lot of people from out of state that don't know how to drive.
even people in state don't know how to drive.
No, not at all. Well, mainly in that town.
Yeah, for real.
Like
And
it's so bad.
yeah, like I mean, I could count like stories even from work today where I've barely missed people or people don't go at green lights and you have to honk at them for a minute and they still won't go because they're looking at their phone or whatever.